Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. Once again, we are here today, and just like any other time, we have another show lined for y'all. Today, we have a special guest. Her name is Jessica D. Ray, and as you can see on the overlay, she is a real estate agent. I'm going to have some fun talking to her on the show, not just about her professionalism, but everything that got her to where she is today. I'm so excited to just talk about your experience from Montreal's suburbs. Tell us a little bit from the get-go, what inspired you to take this career path? Because obviously you do a lot more than this, but let's figure out how you got to where you are.
Funny you asked that question. I kind of stumbled upon it, really. I was in a corporate position prior, but I really noticed my skill set was really with people. And I always loved everything about house and home. And I think mixing the both just really allowed me to see that I could do something in real estate. So I asked a local broker if they needed any help, and that's kind of how it progressed.
When you think about how real estate works, a lot of people on the outside, that's one thing that either A, they don't have the patience to kind of understand what it takes, and two, it's just a situation where unless you're actually in the field, you probably won't even know what it takes to do it. So kind of take us behind the scenes. What's the process that you get to go through day in, day out?
You know, it's grueling. You constantly have to, there's a saying we have here, especially, is to list is to last. And so you have to keep getting those leads in. You got to keep nurturing your clients and really just focusing in on your current clientele as well. So that is basically how it is to last. And always need to keep providing knowledge, continuous education to your clients. Things change almost, quarter to quarter, things with the economy, everything really takes an effect to what the real estate market will become, right? So we always have to keep up to date, keep up with the trends. We are now TikTok personalities. So from the day to day, people think it's easy. It's what they see on Selling Sunset, which is not. There's a lot of behind the scenes that people don't see. There's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of tears. There's a lot of sacrifices that we have to make. And no, we don't set our own hours. At the end of the day, we are at the beck and call of our clients. So we're just typically on the road, making sure that, deals are happening. We answer our phones, emails. It's a lot. It's kind of what you see out there, just without all the fancy glam.
You're in your bio, you're all about helping people make smart and soulful choices. When you think about the process, what it takes for you to get a potential client to actually get in the deal, what's some of the strategies that you have been able to come up with as you have been in this industry for a while now?
I always bring it back to basics and always come back to the question of what is that lifestyle you're looking for? Yes, I predominantly work in the suburbs too, but there's so many different areas that are really diverse and that really are different. And depending if you like to be near water or if you want to be next to a better school. So I always ask the client, what is your lifestyle? What is enough space for you, or what is the maintenance you'd like to have for a home? Are you a pool person, or would you rather not upkeep a pool? So people don't really think of these things. And I kind of like to have that approach with them to really realize to what capacity are they able to not just afford a home, but to upkeep it and to really enjoy their home.
What's cool about this show is we have guests who are all over the United States and beyond. So international, you being selling in Quebec, that's a unique market. Tell us a little bit, some of the things that a buyer should know before buying or selling living in Quebec.
We have a lot of taxes. And your US dollar will probably go a lot further here. But to take the funny part away of it all, here, so you guys have tax or attorneys. Basically here we don't have that. We have someone called a notary, which basically does all of that sort of thing. So you guys have somebody that takes care of the titles and all that. This is something that is similar to that effect. So sometimes when I deal with clients from the States, particularly, because there is a lot of feeder markets from, especially your area too as well, people won't understand, like, what is a notary? What does that mean? And they just think the deal is done once it's confirmed. But no, the real estate agent actually goes along with you, holds your hand, and goes to this said notary with you versus, just pawning it off to a lawyer or a title attorney.
When you think about how the market changes, it, like you said earlier, is something that you got to go along with the ride. That could be very emotional for people. It's a big decision for anybody to navigate that time of their life when they're ready to invest. How do you blend strategic marketing with balancing emotional intelligence when you're working with your clients?
Good question. I think it's also when we just recently had with the elections, also US always plays a big role with Canada as well. We also went through our very own here in Canada too. So that usually becomes a bit more of a quieter time where people are just really waiting to see what's going to happen, especially with the market. I feel like every time Trump says something or does something, it's either green or red, and we got to just play with it. So people, obviously that plays with people's portfolios. So people really have to manage their expectations from their financial situation, right? So that really takes an emotional toll on people. People are a bit more stressed. I just tell them, like, listen, let this, it's okay. Like, this is just a period at a standstill. Take your time, and then we'll get to that point. It's relatively a slow time anyways during those specific times. So let's just reach back once we have, a confirmed answer, and that way you can make a wise decision. I always think it's best to take a pause.
I'm sorry about that.
Oh, no, it's okay. I always say sometimes it's always good to take a pause. I know everyone says it's like, no, go, make the deal happen. But then something happens and it's just not good for them, then you're stuck.
Once again, listen on Refocused Radio and watching us online, talking to our special guest today, Jessica D. Ray. She has a website, jessicadray.com. You can check out all the things that she's doing. Got some nice property where you at. That's some really nice listings you have. When you think about how you are trying to deliver the best quality, the best, how does that kind of look like when you pull the curtains back, so to speak? What are some of the things you and your team typically have to go through to kind of vet what it is you want to put out there?
We always do a run through. So when we solidify a listing, we do a run through of the property with the client. We actually have a sales coordinator with us as well too. That really helps us to kind of navigate and see if there's like a home staging needed or a light staging needed. Some people don't know the difference, but a light staging just means, we just rearrange a few things and add our own inventory to the photos to really set the stage and make it look really nice. Or we have third-party companies that really come in and bring furniture and all that sort of thing. So we really try to emphasize on getting this walkthrough done, seeing what really needs to be put in place to really, like I mentioned, set the stage and really showcase, how can we make this property stand out amongst the rest? And we come up with a marketing plan that really is tailored to each property. And then we go from there. We select the best photos, we work with the best photographers, and then we go from, okay, now what's the social media strategy behind this? How can we get as many eyes on this as possible?
And thinking from that perspective, when you're at the phase of now, you're just trying to get as many eyes as possible to see this listing. What some of the things that you learned seems to work pretty well versus maybe that's a off way of doing this because it doesn't track too well?
There's been an influx of obviously real estate agents coming on platforms and just saying like, welcome to 123 Sesame Street. And so we try to really catch a great hook just so we can reel people in. I know at the end of the day, people really like seeing decor, designs, layouts, unique features. So we really try to focus on capturing people's attention that way, and then really focusing on what are the elements of the home that will really, want people to like or reshare. So that sort of thing versus saying, welcome to 123 and, 4 bedroom, 4 bath, that sort of thing. We kind of want to be a little bit unique and different.
When you think about maybe some of the common mistakes that people might make when they're trying to make a decision between renovation versus selling, what's some of the ways you try to help them find clarity in that part and prevent as much pain as possible from happening during the process?
When it comes to renovations, people sometimes just ballpark it and they don't really necessarily know the exact costs it really entails. So I always just say, like, really just get your quotes first before making that final decision. And obviously we just had a video posted not too long ago from our team basically saying like, there's other options as well. There's also smaller renovations that can be done that will make a huge impact, such as resurfacing your cupboards of your kitchen versus demolishing it entirely. So we try to guide our clients in showcasing them like what are the options, getting the real price point, so that way they can be really well informed, especially if they're planning to flip a home. That's really important to note. And delays, because now workers, there's a shortage of people that are in the trade, and that causes a lot of time and money.
Where you are, how are you seeing the trend for buyers who are like first-time buyers versus those who are using it more like investing for owning their own property to rent out and stuff like that? What are you seeing is being popular right now where you are? So
first-time buyers are a little bit more frugal and cautious because the cost of living has gone up. So they're just, okay, if we're going to put this much down, even if it's our dream home, we've got to make sure, food is on the table still. So I'm seeing that as a trend. They're just being more cautious of how they're spending and want to really make sure they can, afford their lifestyle as well. They don't want to necessarily back down from taking that, 1 vacation or 2 vacation a year. For those who are investing more so, they're also a bit more cautious. They want to ensure if it's an investment property, people are renting the units out, are they good tenants? Are they paying on time? Is there any issues there? And then there's also people that are just building a legacy now. If those, buying the top dollar priced homes, I would say, they obviously are looking for homes that really are going to be legacy homes, I would say. So if they're a waterfront property, if they're on a big, large plot of land, can they homestead on this property? So there's a lot of factors that they say, like, this could be a family type of home that could be passed along generation from generation.
And you mentioned some of the things that people should be aware of, and that's lifestyle. You as an entrepreneur, I'm sure you had mentors along the way, people that you probably looked up to when you first got into real estate. What's some things that you felt was very valuable for you with your professional growth being real estate that you can probably pass on to people who are potentially thinking about buying a house in the future?
I would say, so since I started, which was almost a decade ago, I noticed, shifts, trends, and all that sort of thing. I feel like to warn anyone buying a house is just really focus on location. Location will always be that factor where no matter what, it will always gain in value. So location is always key. And obviously just upkeep your house. It's such a shame to kind of see people that just don't upkeep their house and it loses such value over time. It really, that's just kind of my two tidbits I would give out, is just make sure you are also able to keep up with the maintenance of your home, because that is so important down the line.
When you think about the economy, that plays a huge role. What have you noticed, you and your team, as far as like what was some of the things that you find yourselves doing, preparing when there seems to be uncertainty in the economy, which feels like all the time nowadays? What are some of the things you guys do to keep the spirits high and prepare for uncontrollable things that can happen?
Education. We always just try to keep our clients, our viewers online too, just educated about what's going on, our 2 cents on the matter. There's always, our real estate board gives out information and stats as well too. So making sure they receive that, whether it's like through a newsletter or a video that we post out. So I think it's always just keeping top of mind that they can come to us if they have any questions. And of course, to kind of dilute the situation a little bit is just, same thing like I mentioned before. It's just like take a beat and like let's revisit something right after this, with this type of, economy and shift that we're going through. Some people are just not ready to pull the trigger right away, and that's okay. Again, it also depends on what their financial capabilities are. I also think it's important to be working with their third parties. So example, financial advisors or their bankers, just to make sure that we're on the same page and to really focus, this is the trajectory we're going on and let's go down this route. And so everyone's on the same page. It facilitates everything. But the economy, it's always something. So we try to just keep them knowledgeable as much as we can.
Once again, listen to Refocused Radio and watching us online, talking to our guest, Jessica D. Ray. Go to her website, jessicadray.com. When kind of expanding on the financial part again, when you think about resources that are out there to help people to be educated, I'm sure you and your team point them in the right direction. But when it comes to someone who's a first-time buyer and they may have some financial things that they need to put in check and get it taken care of, like debt with credit and all that, what some of the things that you would say based on what you've seen people should really prepare for as early as possible versus jumping into trying to rush a decision to just get a first-time home?
I usually supply my clients with a list of things I say to watch out for. And we always have a list of what not to do before you go to a notary and you're planning on transacting, because there's things that are become red flags. But for instance, I had a recent conversation with a client of mine who was thinking of selling a property and then putting that cash towards another property in the future. And they said, well, right now I can't do it because, these things are in the way. And so I kind of gave them a game plan to start, the wheels in motion. And one of them being, let's fix your credit score. So how do we do that? And so, I kind of led them to check out their credit score, how they can do that. And then speak also with, even though it was a long-term plan, but speak with a mortgage broker that was able to kind of guide them as what kind of options were ahead for them if they were to do this option A and option B, because they had other scenarios in mind. So that also plays a role in deciding, okay, well, then I got to put this much cash down, or if I can go find it this way, then I'll do it that way. So I think it's always guiding them properly even if it's a long-term plan, make that connection happen right away, because the more knowledge they can have now will depend on what they can do in the future.
When you look at the whole process of inspection for our audience, kind of explain what that looks like, whether it's a new home or a recently renovated home. What is that whole process working with those companies and inspecting the home?
Inspections can be quite scary and people always get so nervous and worked up about them, but I'm always like, this is good. We have to know the health of a home. As I say, it's like going to the doctor. We got to check up and just see what works and what doesn't. And if it all works, then great, So, and also if it doesn't, something not working, then we got to figure out how do we fix it and how much will that cost. So it's not a daunting, scary scenario. I think it's a good thing. How to manage the expectation is to really guide the client and say, this is what an inspection is for. This is how it's going to work. It could take up to 4 hours, example, depending on the size of the home. It could be less or more. And this is what to expect. And so again, with my clients as well too, I kind of give them a little text beforehand just to be like, okay, we set up the date. Here's what to bring that day, bring a notepad and in case you want to write down some notes, but the report will be done from the inspection. And then you'll get to review it, share it with me, and then we'll go through everything together and I will be there as well too to write my own notes. So it's always like a conversation. Write down your notes, follow along, follow the inspector, and we'll just reconvene after to kind of see, what's going on with the house and come up with a game plan.
Being in this industry, what do you believe has been the biggest learning point for you that has helped you position yourself for success? Because, like I said earlier in the show, a lot of people don't know what it's like to be in the field in this industry. It looks a lot easier when we watch home improvement shows, but I'm sure it's totally different when you're the person on the front lines.
I think it's to always you have to be a good collaborator in the business. I think people just automatically don't have the camaraderie with one another. At the end of the day, we're here to just do a deal, to get things done for our clients. So you have to be collaborative. There's no need to, be mean or, if you see another younger broker in the industry, like there's just absolutely no need to be mean at all. Like be collaborative. They're here just to learn as well and get the job done as well too. So I think I would say is just learn how to collaborate, because at the end of the day, like the client is looking for you to get the job done, and you can't do that if you're not collaborative. And so, and being collaborative also helps you find out what other, properties may be coming up on the market that could be best suited for your client. You just never know. So you almost become friends. And I think that's what's cool about our team, is that we're almost like friends with one another out in the field. So if we know of something, it's not like we have insider dibs or anything, but they'll just say like, wait a few weeks, something will be really cool coming out, and so it gives us a good uphand on the market, and we kind of also can see and dictate pricing. I think that's always a good thing to note too, is keep abreast of what's going on in your market and prices, because everyone will ask, hey, I have this home in this area, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, like how much will it cost? Knowing ballpark numbers is also a good thing, especially in conversation. So know your market and be collaborative.
And speaking of collaboration and knowing your market, last thing I want to touch on is interior design. Eyes always, if it looks great, then that's going to be a nice motivator as well. When you look at the process of understanding what's in the house, how it looks like in presentation wise for the photographer, videographer, what's some of the things that you feel are like fundamental? Like it's like you can't get away from this, that you feel kind of sets the tone before buyers get to see the presentation part of how it looks like inside?
You know what? It's lighting. Lighting makes a huge difference, and also colors. So colors such as red, if you see red in a photo, even if it's a pillow or a basket or something, it really catches your eye and you focus on that red item in the photo. So you avoid colors like that in that palette. So I think colors really play a tone. The more neutral or aesthetically pleasing it can be, that's better. Also lighting, people want bright, spacious spaces. So we want to emphasize on the lighting. Of course, we can't Photoshop lighting into photos and deceive the public, but as much lighting as possible. So that's why we also plan the times we take photos. If we know the sun is going to be in a specific spot for this property, we're going to take photos at that time. So we always make sure it's airy, bright, and colors. We just try to keep it as neutral as possible.
And you have a extensive background in marketing. When you understand the whole process of being an entrepreneur, you know a lot more now versus when you first got into it. I'm sure it was like deep waters. You had to learn how to swim. If you had some wisdom to share to anyone who wants to get into real estate and wants to consider that as a professional career, what is maybe one golden rule, absolute, that they should keep in mind before they make that move?
I would say get a mentor or shadow somebody, learn from somebody prior. I had the privilege of having to do so for 2 years before I actually went on to my own, and I was able to really be more confident, especially because I was younger in the industry. So that really helped a lot. And still to this day, I mean, 10 years in, I'm still constantly seeking community and coaching. So there's always something to learn. So I think that is very, very important. And I've also just, things change, trends change, just being around people that are like-minded like you in the same industry and are there to really help and guide. I think that's important. So I'm part of also a program where we just meet up once a week and we kind of show best practices of what we're doing, and they're from all over the world. So I think that really, really also helps too in how you have your business, is also because you can help not just people locally, but internationally as well. To wrap it up, because I can be a talker, I would just say mentor and community. I mean, those are the two top things.
Oh, no worries. I didn't want to throw a curveball, but just hearing you talk, I was like, well, I wonder how much technology is impacting your industry, because I know you're probably like, oh no, he's going to talk about AI. Well, here we are. That's like the hottest thing in everybody's talk show host experience. So my last question for you is, how has technology impacted your industry? What's some of the things that you see are valuable and some things that you feel like we're still going to keep it to the basics?
So of course, when we write property descriptions, AI has been there to help navigate and create these really refined texts, so to speak. I still like to write my own. I feel like there's some kind of nostalgia there, but it does really help in creating these marketing pieces for sure. There's also AI technology to virtually stage properties as well too, and that's come a long way. Before, we'd have to manually ask a graphic designer to put things in and out of photographs, where now AI, you just prompt it to ask to do something and it looks so real and can be used. And the last part would be now, and it's still evolving and growing, we don't know where this could take us, but further along with CRMs and emails, but now you can almost make a market report with AI. It'll generate basically just, type in what you need, what you want, how many beds, baths, in this location, and it'll kind of give you a summary of how much it'll be worth. So you can really now quickly, within seconds, give a client an estimate of what their houses could be worth.
So if you use it in a good way, it can kind of help speed up the process, if you will, ball rolling a lot quicker versus, if you only had just you in the office, this kind of gives you a more advantage, you think?
Exactly. Or let's say you're on vacation and somebody's asking quickly, like, hey, just wanted to know how much is my, condo worth now after 2 years. I'm thinking of selling it. We'll chat when you get back. But how much do you think it can be? Well, you can do it within 2 seconds and send it over to them. So I think the technology is helping us do our job faster and a bit better, so to speak. But that human to human contact, I think, is always needed in this industry. So that I don't think can ever be replaced.
Awesome. Well, once again, been listening to I Am Refocused Radio and watching us online. Talking to our guest today, Jessica D. Ray. Go to her website, jessicadray.com. Like I always want to say to you, appreciate your time being on with us today.